The first time the baby cried in public, everyone turned away, except the waitress. That's how Daniel Cross noticed her. Daniel was used to rooms going quiet when he entered them, boardrooms, charity galas, private lounges at five-star hotels. He was a single father and the CEO of one of the fastest growing tech companies in the country, but none of that mattered in that moment. What mattered was that his 9-month-old daughter Lily was wailing in a crowded downtown cafe, and for the first time since his wife's funeral, Daniel felt completely helpless. He hadn't planned to bring Lily to a cafe. He hadn't planned much of anything since becoming a widower. Life had turned into a series of survival decisions, meetings, nannies, late nights, and a constant, aching fear that he was failing at the one job that mattered most. Lily's cries grew louder. A few customers sighed. One woman glanced over with irritation. Daniel's shoulders tightened as he rocked the stroller, whispering apologies that no one seemed to hear. Then a soft voice cut through the noise. "It's okay," the waitress said gently. "Babies cry. That's how they tell the world they're here." Daniel looked up. She couldn't have been more than 25, no makeup to speak of, hair tied back neatly. Her name tag read Emma. She knelt beside the stroller without asking, making a silly face at Lily, pulling a tiny spoon from her apron and tapping it lightly like a drum. To Daniel's shock, Lily paused. Her cries slowed into hiccups. Her tiny fingers curled, her eyes locked onto Emma's face, and for the first time all morning she smiled. Daniel felt something loosen in his chest. "Thank you," he said quietly. Emma smiled back, but there was a tired kindness behind it, the kind that comes from someone who has learned to be gentle even when life hasn't been gentle to them. "You're doing great," she said. "Single parenting isn't easy." That surprised him. He hadn't said a word about being alone. She stood up, took his order, and walked away as if she hadn't just calmed the storm that had been raging inside him all morning. Daniel came back the next day, and the day after that, not because the coffee was exceptional or the cafe was convenient, but because Lily always seemed calmer when Emma was around. Emma never crossed boundaries. She didn't pry. She didn't ask for photos or autographs. She simply treated Lily like a human being who deserved warmth. Sometimes Emma would bring a small cup of warm water for Daniel to clean Lily's hands. Sometimes she'd quietly reheat a bottle without charging him. Once, when Daniel forgot his wallet, Emma told him, "Just pay next time," and meant it. Daniel noticed things others didn't. How Emma flinched slightly when someone raised their voice. How she worked double shifts without complaint. How she slipped leftover muffins into a paper bag at closing time, whispering that she'd just throw them away otherwise. One afternoon, Lily grew restless again. Daniel lifted her, pacing near the window while checking emails on his phone. That's when it happened. Lily stopped moving, her eyes widened, her small arm lifted, index finger pointing across the cafe, at Emma. Daniel smiled distractedly. "Yes, sweetheart," he murmured, "that's Emma." Then Lily opened her mouth. "Mama," the word landed like thunder. The cafe seemed to disappear. Daniel froze, his phone slipping from his hand. He looked down at his daughter, hoping, praying, that he'd imagined it. "Mama," Lily said again, clearer this time, still pointing. Emma turned, confused at first. Then her eyes met Daniel's. The room went quiet. Daniel felt his heart crack open in a way he wasn't ready for. His wife had been Lily's mother. The word mama was sacred. And yet here it was, spoken for the first time. Not to him, not to a photo, but to a waitress who had shown his daughter kindness. "I'm sorry," Daniel said quickly, panic in his voice. She doesn't understand yet." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She shook her head, pressing a hand to her mouth. "No," she whispered. I get it." She turned away, wiping her face, but Daniel saw the truth in her reaction. That word hadn't hurt her. It had healed something. Later that evening, after the cafe closed, Daniel waited outside. When Emma stepped out, surprised to see him, he spoke without rehearsing. "Why did she say that?" he asked quietly. "Why you?" Emma hesitated, then exhaled slowly. "Because I lost my mother young," she said, "and when I see her," she nodded toward the stroller, "I just give her what I wish someone had given me." Daniel swallowed hard. Weeks passed. Life continued. But something had shifted. Daniel invited Emma to lunch, not as a CEO, not as a man with power, but as a father who wanted to understand why his daughter felt safe with her. Over coffee, Emma shared her story. Foster homes, late nights, dreams she'd pause to survive. Daniel listened, really listened. One afternoon, he asked her a question that changed everything. "What would you do?" he said, "if money and fear weren't obstacles?" Emma laughed softly. "I'd go back to school," she said, "early childhood development. I want to help kids who don't get a gentle start." Daniel didn't answer right away. A month later, Emma received a letter she thought was a mistake. Full tuition paid, childcare stipend included, anonymous donor. She cried in the cafe bathroom for 10 minutes. Daniel never told her it was him. Years passed, Lily grew, words came easily now. She called many people by name. But sometimes when she was tired or afraid, she still reached for Emma and said the word that had started it all. "Mama," and Emma never corrected her, because love, after all, isn't about titles. It's about presence. Daniel learned something too, that leadership isn't built in boardrooms, but in quiet moments when kindness is chosen without cameras or applause. And every time he watched his daughter smile at the world, he remembered that moment in the cafe. The moment that reminded him, and all of us, that kindness still matters.